Good morning. Can you please state your name for the record?
My name is Carrie Keane.
And Ms. Keane, how are you so employed?
I'm a barmaid at Yevgeny's hideout.
And where is that located?
It's in Hatfield Town Centre.
And were you working on Saturday, the 15th of December, 2018?
Yes, I was. I started at 11 a.m. And I was doing the whole day through to the night shift.
And I understand a incident took place at Yevgeny's on that day in question. Can you please tell me what happened?
There was a lot. It was a pretty crazy day. So probably about 10 o'clock, a gentleman arrived at the bar, and this gentleman basically attacked. He attacked Dante Paley. So that's what happened. It was pretty brutal. There was blood everywhere.
Thank you. And what time did this gentleman arrive at the bar?
So he arrived around 10, and he just came in on his own. We have a kind of like a bar area where there's some spare seats, and he just took up one of those seats, sat down and started reading a book. It was really weird, actually. He said to me that the book was around like inner peace, and it was just a little bit creepy, to be honest.
What happened then?
He ordered a Desperado, which I think are disgusting. I don't know why anyone would drink them. It's got like tequila in it, and it's just a horrible drink, but he ordered one of those, so that's how I remember, because it's just barely anyone ever orders them. And he had probably about 3 over an hour. I mean, he wasn't drunk, he didn't seem drunk to me, but he had 3 of those. He was reading his book, and he started like singing this Johnny Cash song. I know it, but it's something about like striking down like wrong liars and wrongdoers. It's like, yeah, it's a pretty creepy song, and he's reading that book, so yeah, I mean, he was pretty distinctive.
And Ms. Keane, I understand that Mr. Dante Paley entered the bar. What time did he enter the bar?
From what I remember, it was about an hour later.
Then what happened?
So Dante had come in. There was definitely an air. I mean, I'm a barmaid. I get a sort of sixth sense for when trouble is arising. So Dante came in. He didn't really look very happy to see Mr. O'Keefe. And I mean, I couldn't really see too much. I wasn't really paying too much attention because I was serving people, but I could definitely tell something was going on. I was trying to keep my eyes on it. And so for a while, like, nothing really happened. And then Mr. Paley went to speak to Mr. O'Keefe, but he kind of held his entourage back, like he didn't want his entourage coming with him. So he just went to speak to him.
And did you see either Mr. Paley or Mr. O'Keefe holding any type of objects when they were approaching each other?
I mean, I didn't see them particularly holding any objects, no.
And what did you observe?
I mean, it was mayhem. Dante was on the floor, there was blood everywhere, people were screaming. I could see Dante had, like, I think something like going on with his neck, like a cut on his neck, and there was just blood. Yeah, it was like carnage.
And where was Mr. O'Keefe in relation to Mr. Paley when you observed this?
Mr. O'Keefe was just stood there shaking. He had this broken bottle, and he just really calmly laid it down. I remember because it was quite a strange movement, bearing in mind what had just happened. He just really calmly laid it down. And he was kind of shaking, and he said something about a knife, but I mean, I didn't see a knife, but he was talking about it.
And just to clarify, did you see a knife anywhere around that scene?
I mean, I didn't see a knife, but Mr. O'Keefe said there was one.
Thank you very much, Ms. Keane. I'll be turning it over to my co-counsel, Mr. Dixon.
Now, you described Mr. O'Keefe as entering the bar around 10 o'clock, and he sat down at the bar, ordered a drink, you said it was a Desperado, and began to read a book. Would you be able to explain to the court his demeanour? You know, how did he hold himself?
Well, when he arrived, he was very polite, very courteous. Didn't really say much, although we did talk about the book a little bit. But he kind of got more anxious as the night went on. He definitely did get a bit more fidgety.
And would you say he was? You say he was anxious. So did he seem like he was waiting for something or someone, apprehensive?
I mean, that could be it. With hindsight, definitely. I mean, that's clearly why he was anxious. But at the time, I mean, he was reading this book where I mean, the content seemed pretty creepy, so I just thought maybe the book was maybe making him anxious. I wasn't quite sure, he just seemed anxious.
What do you think was the cause of the scream?
I mean, I would say it was the huge wound on Dante Paley's neck. I would scream if someone jabbed a bottle in my neck.
Did you, at any point, see a knife?
No, but like I said, it was really busy. Lots of people, lots of screaming. I didn't see it. Mr. O'Keefe was, mumbling that there was one. So, I mean, possibly, but I definitely didn't see one.
In your witness statement, you've previously mentioned that Sam O'Keefe's appearance before the incident was extremely polite, very courteous and deferential. Is that correct? Would you agree with this?
Yes, when he first arrived, that was definitely his character and demeanour. Yeah, when he first arrived.
So you'd agree that these are characteristics of a man that doesn't aim to attack someone, correct?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, sure, but as he sat there, he just got more anxious and fidgety, so his character definitely changed throughout the evening, and obviously we all know where that ended.
Miss Keane, how many drinks did you serve Mr. O'Keefe that night?
So I served him 3 Desperados within an hour. They're a bit higher percentage than, say, a normal bottled beer, but they are in bottles, so probably, they're not pints or anything, they're probably 330 mils. So we had 3 of them in about an hour.
Good morning, Miss Keane. Now, the night in question, you say that Mr. Paley entered the bar with an entourage. Now, could you tell the court roughly how many people were in his entourage that night?
I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 plus Mr. Paley, because, I mean, it's hard to tell. Like I said, the bar was at this point quite busy, but I probably saw about 5 or 6 people with him when I was looking.
So that would be intimidating. I would be intimidated if I was sat alone at a bar and a group of men came in and came upon me. Would you agree that that would be intimidating?
I mean, it could be. Like I said, I don't really know anything about the relationship between these 2 guys other than what I saw in the bar. Maybe intimidating, but Mr. O'Keefe was smiling. He was doing his threatening smile. He didn't seem intimidated.
You also said at this point that Mr. Paley looked flustered. So would you say that he looked riled?
Not riled. He was fiddling with his belt buckle, which he does when he's nervous, and he looked nervous, to be honest. I wouldn't say he was gearing up for a fight. He was definitely nervous.
Thank you so much. No further questions.